Long ago, after many years of waiting, Abraham and Sarah received wonderful news. God kept his promise and gave them a baby boy. The couple was filled with joy. They named their son Isaac, just as God had instructed. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born, but that did not stop him from celebrating. Friends and family gathered, and there was great happiness in Abraham's camp. But Isaac was not the only child in Abraham's household. There was also Ishmael, the son of Hagar. Ishmael was older than Isaac, and as the years passed, tension began to grow between the two boys. Sarah became concerned about the future and spoke to Abraham about it. Abraham was troubled. He cared deeply for both children and did not want anyone to be hurt. That night, Abraham prayed. God spoke to him and said, "Do not be afraid. Listen to what Sarah has said. I will watch over Ishmael, and I will make him into a great nation." Those words comforted Abraham's heart. Early the next morning, Abraham prepared food and a skin of water for Hagar and Ishmael. Though saying goodbye was painful, he trusted God's promise. Hagar took her son by the hand, and together they began their journey across the wilderness. The desert stretched out before them. The sun was hot, and the days seemed long. At first, they walked with hope, but after some time, they lost their way. Hagar started in the direction of Egypt, the land she had come from, but somewhere along the way, she lost the path. Instead of a clear road home, she and Ishmael found themselves wandering in the hot, dry desert. The sun blazed above them, and the sand underneath their feet grew hotter and hotter. As the hours passed, the water in the skin bottle grew lower and lower, until at last there was not a single drop left. Hagar and Ishmael were tired and thirsty. The boy's lips were dry, and his strength was fading quickly under the burning sun. Hagar looked into the empty water skin and felt her heart sink. Ishmael was thirsty and weak. The heat pressed down on them, and there was no river, no well, and no village in sight. Hagar found a small bush and helped Ishmael rest beneath its shade. She gently laid Ishmael under the thin shade of a small bush, hoping it would give him at least a little protection from the heat. Then she walked a short distance away and sat down. Her heart was breaking. She loved her son very much and could not bear to watch him suffer. With tears in her eyes, she cried out to God. "I cannot bear to watch my boy die of thirst," she thought. Tears streamed down her face as she cried out in deep sorrow. Ishmael, weak from thirst, moaned softly. It must have felt like all hope was gone. But God had not forgotten them. God heard the cries of Hagar and the cries of Ishmael. At just the right moment, a voice called out to Hagar. It was the voice of an angel from heaven. "Hagar, do not be afraid. God has heard the boy's cry. Stand up and take care of him. I have a plan for his future." Hagar looked around. Then God opened her eyes. Not far away was something she had not seen before. A spring of fresh water bubbled up from the ground. Hagar could hardly believe it. Quickly, she filled the water skin and hurried back to Ishmael. She gave him cool water to drink. Life returned to the tired boy. The danger had passed. God had provided exactly what they needed at exactly the right time. Hagar did not go back to Egypt after that. Instead, she found a place near the spring of water and made a home there with Ishmael. They lived far from other people, out in the wilderness. But even though they were in a lonely place, they were never outside of God's care. As the years passed, Ishmael grew taller and stronger. He learned the skills of a man who lives in the desert. He practiced with the bow and arrow until he became a skilled archer, able to hunt and protect his family. The wilderness that once seemed so dangerous became the place where he grew up, worked, and lived. God was with Ishmael as he had promised. Ishmael later had children of his own. and his family grew into a large group of people who lived in the desert lands. These became the desert tribes, wandering with their flocks and herds, moving from place to place across the sandy hills and open spaces. Just as God had said, Ishmael became the father of many people. The story of Hagar and Ishmael reminds us that no one is forgotten by God. It reminds us that even in moments of jealousy, conflict, or deep sadness, God still sees every person involved. He cares for the child who stays and the child who goes. He hears the cry of a mother's heart and the quiet sobs of a thirsty boy in the desert. When we feel lost or forgotten, God is still near, ready to guide, provide, and keep His promises. Even when life feels lonely, difficult, or uncertain, God sees us. He hears our prayers. He knows our needs before we even speak them. Just as He cared for Hagar and Ishmael in the desert, He continues to care for His people today. Good night, little ones. Remember, when you feel alone or unsure, God sees you, hears your cries, and will walk with you, even in the driest desert. When you feel worried or afraid, you can always talk to God. He hears every prayer, sees every tear, and lovingly provides what you need in His perfect time. Sleep in His care tonight.